Greetings, beautiful people. This is SB Favor Thinking Podcast, and my name is SB Favor. How are you doing today? It is Tuesday, December 8th, 2020. Another wonderful day and another day to be thankful. I hope everyone had a good day, a good, productive day, because the sun was shining. Well, the sun was shining where I am. I don't know about everywhere else, but the sun was shining where I am. But I hope the sun was shining where you are. And like I said, I hope that you had a good day. Um, Rebecca is here this evening. How you doing, Rebecca?
Hi, I'm doing very well. Thank you. Very happy to be here tonight.
Great, great, great. We're just going to talk about the pros and cons of bad decisions and good decisions, basically. And we're just going to roll into that. And I hope that it will be, I should say, a good, positive discussion. But before we get into that, I would like to talk about giving. Today is Giving Tuesday. Make sure if you decide to give to a charity of your choice, I am suggesting that you give to Feed America. You can give at feedamerica.org. It is so important to be a blessing at this time during this season. There are so many people that were affected by the pandemic financially. So please make sure you give to Feed America at feedamerica.org. You can give to any charity of your choice, of course. I mean, there are so many charities to give to, but Feed America is my suggestion because they are feeding America. Yes, indeed. That's what they're doing in this very time. They are feeding people that have need of food across America. So make sure you give at feedamerica.org. Also, I want to remind you to make sure that if you are out there traveling about, make sure you wear your mask, use your hand sanitizer, and make sure you keep that social distance and keep yourself safe, keep your family safe. Also, I want to mention to you, lastly, make sure you check on your friends and your family members during this time, this holiday season. We have to check in on our loved ones and friends because mental health is very important. And when someone knows that they are cared about, guess what? It makes a difference. So make sure you check on your friends and your family members during this season. So we're going to get into it. So Rebecca,
Yes, yes, yes.
the pros and cons of good decisions and bad decisions. When I thought about this topic, I just thought about some of the bad decisions that I've made, and I started thinking about how bad decisions bring uncomfortable consequences. Excuse me. And good decisions and choices bring ongoing, continual benefits. Isn't that something?
Yes, absolutely. And you know what? It kind of that ties in with your mental health actually. What you just said last, for some reason, it just kind of magnified in my mind. Our
Mm-hmm.
mental health,
Mm-hmm.
right, has to do a lot with with our decisions.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're absolutely right. I agree with that because when you make good decisions, it also benefits everybody in your environment. A good decision can benefit someone you're connected to because they will reap the very thing that you have sown. When they are connected to you, a good decision brings ongoing, continual benefits, and a bad decision can bring uncomfortable consequences. I think that all of us can, unfortunately, or have made bad decisions because that's just our human nature to make mistakes. You know what I mean? And sometimes when you are making a decision, if you are rushing to make a decision and you haven't sat down and weighed the pros and cons of that decision and you're just out there shopping and doing things, or if you have to make a decision and you're sitting at home and you're thinking about it and you're just not taking the time to weigh it out and you're rushing into it, that's not good. Because I believe that when you make a decision, you should, of course, in my opinion, you should pray, because the Bible says acknowledge the Lord in all thy ways and he will direct your path. That's real talk. That's practical knowledge. If you need direction on what to do or what not to do, that's what I think you should do. You should pray, and then you should look at the pros and cons of the decision that you're going to make. If it's something that you want versus something that is essential, then you know what comes first. What's essential comes first and not that want, right? So, good decisions, like I said, they bring ongoing, continual benefits. And bad decisions, I'm going to keep saying it, bring uncomfortable consequences. Who wants to be uncomfortable? What you say about that, Rebecca? What you say?
Yeah, no, you're right. Who wants to be uncomfortable?
Mm-hmm.
And we certainly have to. When you said about weighing,
Mm-hmm.
the pros and cons.
Mm-hmm.
When we make decisions, we have to sit down and think and take some serious thought of, how is that decision going to affect your children, your
Mm-hmm.
family,
Mm-hmm.
your finances, your job.
Mm-hmm.
Is why am I doing this?
Right, right.
Am I making this decision for the right reasons?
Mm-hmm.
And when you start to weigh those pros and cons,
Mm-hmm.
you always have to kind of add in there, before I make this decision, is there a better way to go about it?
Exactly.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, sometimes distraction can bring about a bad decision. If you're in the moment of making a decision, and you are distracted to actually think about the consequences, I call it the fog in your mind. That's what I call it. The fog in your mind can make you make a bad decision. The only reason why I can say that, because I have done it. I have made some bad decisions because in that moment, I had what I call the fog in my mind. I was distracted, and I didn't sit down and think about the consequences. I didn't sit down and think about, oh well, what's going to happen if I do this. I was rushing. I was just in the moment, like, okay, let me do this. But I've also been in situations where I sat down and I consciously made good decisions, and so that is why I know that it is important to, as I was stating before the break, it is important to make good decisions because it brings ongoing continual benefits, and bad decisions bring uncomfortable consequences. So, Rebecca, you want to share a time where you may have experienced one or the other, a bad decision or the benefits of a good decision?
Yeah, actually, bad decisions that produce an uncomfortable consequences.
Mm-hmm.
You know, um, in reality, we could also kind of define that as a mistake, right?
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
make a decision, but it
Mm-hmm.
went wrong,
Mm-hmm.
so it ended up being a mistake. I'm thinking what I'm thinking about right now, because I only could speak on on what I've experienced and what I've done, and what has transpired in my own personal life. I
Mm-hmm.
can't speak of anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember having a teenage daughter, and she was growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And she had friends. She had quite a few friends,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember being she wanted to stay over her friend's house, and I made a quick decision and a quick judgment.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember saying no, but then I said yes.
Mm-hmm.
And after dropping her off within like an hour, I went back and picked her up.
Oh, wow.
Um, yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Mm-hmm.
I picked her up. Now, we're talking about Jiminy. I want to say maybe about
Mm-hmm.
10 years ago, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, more or less,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe less than that. Yeah, maybe 10 years ago.
Right.
And the young children are in social media. They're on Facebook, right?
Right.
And I don't know if you remember when all the self portraits came out, where everybody was putting their duck lips together, doing all the little self
Yeah.
portraits,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I remember that the girls had all taken a picture, and I feel that now that I think about it,
Mm-hmm.
so many years later,
Mm-hmm.
I made too many judgments, and I my choice to be overly protective and judging allows me to reflect now, kind of go back and see where I made that mistake. Um, and I think about, wow, how could have I prevented that? And then you say, but Rebecca, why? What leads you to believe that you were actually, maybe misjudging, or maybe you were too overly? What gives you that, that reason to come to that with that answer? I'm going to tell you why. Because let's fast forward, 10 years later,
Mm-hmm.
and a couple of these girlfriends of my daughter um, are still her most loyal friends. They love her,
Mm-hmm.
and they honor each other, and they help each other through good and through bad.
Mm-hmm.
And they have helped my daughter because they were also friends with my son Stephen, who passed away.
Mm-hmm.
And during the process of me seeing this and watching the behaviors and watching the communication and watching the closeness, I had to go back and reflect and say, wow, you know,
So you're
as a
saying that.
parent, we got to get to know other children more as well, and get to know who our kids' friends are, and get to know them more before we make a quick judgment call.
So you're saying that you made a mistake because you thought that you were making a bad decision because you were being judgmental.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So that makes perfect sense in terms of um you use the word mistake. I think yes, a bad decision can be a mistake. We are human and we make mistakes as part of our human nature. We make mistakes, and in the moment, if you're not thinking about it, you can make a mistake, which can lead to a bad decision. And in your case, Rebecca, you're stating that you made a decision to change that, and from that decision, which became a good decision, you flipped the mistake, and because of that, you got to learn something about the people you could have judged, right?
Absolutely. And you think about those relationships, right?
Mm-hmm.
The relationships, because choices always affect relationships. The
Absolutely.
relationship with our children, a coworker, a sister, a brother, a spouse. Choices affect relationships. What I'm
Absolutely.
saying is that if I would have made better choices, I think that I wouldn't have lost so many years getting to know people better and cultivating better relationships, which I think is important.
Yes, it is very important. It is so important. But I'm glad that you mentioned that because people should also know that when you make a bad decision, when you make a bad choice, you can be restored. But
Hmm.
you have to recognize what you have done. You have to recognize quickly. I'm not talking about basking in something and just you kind of know you did wrong, but you don't want to admit to it. Now, I'm talking about accountability. Okay.
Hmm.
Because when you talk about being restored from a bad choice or decision, you have to also be accountable. That's what being restored is about, accountability. You can't reap the benefits of something good concerning restoration if you don't want to be accountable. So when you talk about being restored from your mistakes and your choices or decisions, you have to be accountable. But I'm glad you mentioned that also, Rebecca, because relationships can suffer from bad choices and bad decisions. And that's why I said when someone is connected to you, your bad decisions or bad choices can affect an environment or anybody that's connected to you. But good choices and good decisions, as I said, bring ongoing continual benefits. Good decisions and good choices bring ongoing continual benefits. And I want to focus on that just for a second because you know what? Every day we have an opportunity to make good decisions and choices. We have an opportunity every single day. When you get up in the morning, you make a decision to have a good day. You can make that day filled with good choices and good decisions. It's a matter of being focused. Because I believe that sometimes distraction brings about bad decisions. Do you agree with that, Rebecca?
I agree with that 100%. Distraction
Mm-hmm.
does go about and making bad decisions. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're distracted because you're distracted by your emotions.
Mm-hmm.
You could be emotional. You could be going through, a breakup. You could be going through, a sickness. You could be going through a death. So you're vulnerable.
Yes.
You have mixed emotions. You have mixed feelings.
Exactly.
And we need to be careful that we don't make critical and important decisions during those times. Put those decisions to the side and sit down after and think about it and write the pros and cons down. And don't make quick decisions, especially financial decisions, especially decisions about a divorce.
Mm-hmm.
Decisions on life matters. Definitely, put that on hold until you get your emotions in check.
Excellent point. Excellent point. Because the emotions can drive you into a place where you can make a bad choice or decision, and then later you will realize, why in the world did I do that? And I think that we all have been in that place. It is a place, as Rebecca stated, a place of vulnerability, and you want to avoid that. And that's why I stated, don't make a decision with the fog in your mind. And I use the word fog because when I have made bad decisions in my life, I was distracted, and it was a place where I was so distracted. Yes, my emotions were involved, and I wasn't paying attention. So make good decisions and try not to be in a place emotionally, as Rebecca stated, to put yourself in a vulnerable place to make a bad decision, because these times that we're living in, we have to be that much more focused on every area of our life. We should not be asleep to what's going on around us and what we need for us as individuals. Um, and I use the word sleep because sleep is, to me, it's just not being aware. So that is why I use the word sleep. You can be in the midst of all kind of things that's going on during the day and totally sleep to the fact that you should be responding a certain way, you should be speaking a certain way, you should be making certain decisions about certain things, you should be sharper, you should be alert, you should be conscientious. If you're not all those things, guess what? Then you're asleep. Because when
SB, can I ask you a question when you get a chance? Go ahead. Say
no.
what you're going to say. I wanted to ask you something.
Okay, so let me just say this. When you're asleep, that means you're not paying attention. When you're asleep, you're distracted. When you're asleep, that means there's a fog in your mind. When you're asleep, you're not in the moment to know what you need to do. But being alert, being sharp, being conscientious of what is going on, what needs to be appropriated in that hour, what needs to be allocated, appropriated in that moment. That's when you know you're paying attention. But when you sleep, like I said, the fog in the mind comes and you become distracted and your emotions try to take a seat. And then from that point, things kind of go haywire. and then here comes the bad decision. But go ahead, Rebecca. What was it you're gonna
No,
ask me?
you're right. When we're asleep,
Mm-hmm.
when the fog comes in.
Mm-hmm.
But you mentioned about distraction.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say is the definition of distraction?
Distraction is the lingering of several things in front of you so that you cannot see what you have to see. Now, that's not the Webster Dictionary definition.
All right, all right. What would you say is the Webster dictionary
The
definition?
Webster, well,
An obstacle?
right. I don't have the Webster Dictionary in front of me, but I would say that a distraction is considered to be a blind spot. It's considered to be, I use the word dangling of something because when something lures you away from what you should see, it's a distraction. When something is dangling in your presence, you're paying more attention to the thing that's not important versus the thing that is important. That's a distraction.
That's right. That's right. And and how to prevent us from being so distracted? Because see, being distracted and your mind being fogged, like you said,
Mm-hmm.
and then you go and you make a decision.
Mm-hmm.
That decision, that choice,
Mm-hmm.
that was a bad choice.
Mm-hmm.
That could carry through for years to come.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, for years to come, and if we have a personal relationship with the Lord,
Mm-hmm.
It's important to pray.
Yes.
It's important to pray daily. I'm finding that, I get up in the morning, I'll have my coffee, I might put some YouTube on, some of the news, and then I might start doing other things. But I'm realizing that as I take the distraction away and take a few minutes, just a few minutes, quieting myself down and talking to the Lord, having a prayer life with God, seeking Him. See, because I find that when we do that, then we can come and say, Lord, give me a sound mind today. Give me a sound mind. Give me clarity, Lord, and help me to make good decisions today. And show me any obstacles or distractions that are coming in my way. That's why it's important to have a personal relationship with the Lord and to live a life of prayer. Because believe it or not, He will help us. And this is all about reflecting on some of those decisions. What we did good in life, what allowed us to be successful, what we've done right, okay, the good things that we have done, without reflection, it's too easy to make us forget these things, and it'll make us to instead focus on our failures. And we don't want to just focus on our failures.
That's
We
right.
want to focus on the goodness. We want to focus on the successes. We want to focus on the great things and memories that happened in our past. But if we're not, kind of aligned and having a prayer life to stay focused in that positivity, it's kind of easy to go and constantly, think about our failures and bad choices. And I speak for myself. And I just wanted to say that because, I just speak to myself, and I just feel that, when we do that, it gives us new ideas. It helps us to focus on the positive and to just to have a perspective and keep us from those uncomfortable consequences like that you
Absolutely.
mentioned earlier. Yeah.
Absolutely. Prayer is so vital. Prayer is not some religious experience. It is an exchange with God to the all knowing for you to know. is an exchange with the all-knowing God for you to know whatever it is you need to know. Isn't that wonderful? That we all have access to the all-knowing God, so that you can know whatever it is you need to know. Isn't that wonderful? Isn't it something how we go to these colleges and we only get a measure of knowledge, a degree. A degree is only a measure. Isn't that something? It's only a measure. But when you talk to God, you can get unlimited knowledge. So prayer is very vital. It's very vital. Very vital to know what you should do, if you should do it. And also, when you make a decision and you pray first, you'll have so much peace. So much peace. Because there are times in my life where I had to make some decisions, and I'm telling you, before I could even think about what I wanted to do, I said, you know what, let me just take a minute and pray. And when I was going to make a purchase, when I went to complete that purchase or whatever it was at that time, I had so much peace, and I knew I was supposed to be buying that, whatever I was buying. I knew I was supposed to go wherever I was going at that time, if I was going somewhere, and I needed to pray about it before I went. So prayer, it brings peace when you make decisions. And when you make a bad decision, know that you can be restored, because you don't want to get stuck. All of us have done things that we're not proud of. All of us have done things that we regret. But you can be restored. But in that restoration, you have to be accountable. You have to be accountable to acknowledge where you went wrong or how you made that decision, so that you won't repeat the same pattern of behavior that brought about that bad decision. So just remember that accountability can bring restoration, and you also must be willing to look at what you did so that you don't repeat the same behavior. Don't be hard on yourself and don't condemn yourself. Rebecca, you there?
I'm here. I'm just listening to you. I'm listening to you, and I'm just like a sponge soaking it up, because you can't be hard on yourself. You can't. Listen, reflecting, reflecting, weighing the pros and cons. Listen, all it does, it develops our skills. That's what it does.
Yes, it does.
It develops our skills to review, take an inventory of the effectiveness of that decision. That's all.
Yes.
That's all. And when we made those bad decisions, in whatever state we were in, see, it's to review and to put a light bulb in our mind. Okay, this came out wrong. Right. This was the consequence of that. I need to review now how that was effective. Okay, it wasn't effective. Scratch that. Okay, now I'm developing. When we grow in age. See, I'm 52. When I was 20, I didn't have that developed mind. Right. I didn't have that mindset. I didn't think pros, cons, write this down, write that down. Constantly reading my Bible and talking to God. Lord, what do you think? Should I date that man? Should I marry that person? I didn't think about those things and ask those questions. And I did things in a rush, right? So we go back to those emotions.
Yeah, that's the. Yes, the emotions can get you into trouble. Yes, they can.
Yes, those emotions, get us into trouble. But see, there's a way to get a step ahead, to be a step ahead. It's to know yourself. See, you have to know yourself.
Yes.
It's very important to study your personality and study your weaknesses.
That's right.
And study your strengths, okay? Because as you do that, okay, and you couple that you couple that together with seeking God in prayer, and seeking His will for that day. He might give you and show you little signs. Nope. Don't do that. Nope. Don't buy that. Nope. Don't make that decision. And it'll prevent us, to be honest with you, from having to, to live with some consequences, of bad choices.
Yeah, you want to live a quality filled life daily, being conscious of the things that bring you joy versus the things that can take your joy, you know? And when I say take your joy, I'm talking about there are things that we all have done. And we know if you sit down and just think about this for a second, you have done something and you know that was going to take your joy away. Whatever it is you made a decision about, you knew that was going to take your joy away the minute you went to go do it. So why did you do it? And I'm saying this with a smile on my face. I'm not saying this to, be like really hard or make anybody feel bad. But what I'm saying is there are decisions and things that we know will mess with our peace. We know it will mess with our joy. So why would you do it? So I'm saying all of that because in my life personally, anything that messes with my peace, anything that messes with my joy, anything that messes with that quality filled spirit in my life,
yes,
I don't connect myself to it.
That's right.
I don't care what it is. If I know there's a certain person that's not walking in peace and I know they're very argumentative and I just say, "Hey, how you doing?" and just keep it moving. I don't connect myself to something that I know is going to mess with my peace or something that's going to mess with my joy. So it's a choice. It's a decision you make to make sure that you stay in the right space in your day, in your life. So, but we're talking about this bad choices and decisions and good choices and decisions because it's just good to be more conscientious, more focused, more hands-on in terms of what to know what we're doing, what we need to do, and what's not necessary. We need to be just more alert about the things that need our attention in our life. A lot of things slip to the cracks in our lives because sometimes we're not paying attention.
Absolutely.
And we got to be honest with ourselves because if we want a quality filled life, now think about that for a second. A quality filled life is a life of absolute daily accountability. I'm going to say it again. A quality filled life is a life of absolute accountability. You're not looking at what everybody else is doing. You're looking at what you're doing. And when you look at what you do, then the change can come. Don't focus on what other people are doing and their decisions. Just pray for them. This is about you being accountable for you. Because when you are accountable, then you can help somebody else. You can't help somebody else if you're not accountable first. So we just want to encourage you to make good decisions that can bring ongoing, continual benefits so that you won't have to be a part of the bad decisions that bring uncomfortable consequences. Because God wants us to live quality filled lives. And also, if you made a mistake or you might be in regret of something that you've done, guess what? Just keep trying. Because when you keep trying, it means that you are building upon something to get it right.
Yes.
So keep trying. Don't do something and feel bad about it and beat yourself. As a matter of fact, you know what? Do this. When you get up in the morning and you brush your teeth, look in the mirror and say, "I forgive you." That person in the mirror, look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself, "I forgive you." Forgive yourself. Forgive yourself every single day. Forgive yourself every single day because guess what? That's going to release that condemnation, that guilt, that shame. over any type of bad decision that you have made. You don't have to beat yourself and feel bad about it. Forgive yourself because God forgives you. And he forgives you so much that he gives you the opportunity to try again. Isn't that something?
Oh, that's beautiful.
He forgives you so much that he gives you the
Beautiful.
opportunity to try again.
Try
And
again.
even when we just mess up, sometimes we just plain old trifling. Sometimes we just plain old trifling. I'm just saying it like that because I'm just being honest and real. I can't be anything else but real. When we just plain old trifling, then the excellency of God says, that's all right. That's all right. I got something for that trifling. I got something for that.
All right. Yes.
It's okay. Yes. It's okay. Because you know what? Just think, when you forgive yourself and when you're accountable, wear your crown of accountability, okay? And when you wear that crown of accountability, God is going to have a smile on his face. So just wear that crown of accountability.
Wear that crown.
Yes, of accountability. And I just want to encourage you, because I have been in a place where I have made bad decisions, but I know and I live with the forgiveness of God, forgiving myself, and knowing that in all of my mess, God has forgiven me again. So I just want to encourage you to just make some good decisions so that you can reap the benefits of all the goodness that it brings continually, so that you won't have to be a part of the bad decisions that bring uncomfortable consequences. And if for some reason you make, like I said, if you go to the left and you make the bad decisions, you can be restored, and just keep trying. No matter what, just keep trying. Don't give up. Just keep trying. So
that's right.
Yeah,
beautiful.
It's so important. It's so important. We got to know that we can do better. Even when we mess up, you still got to believe in yourself that you can do better.
We can do better.
That's right.
We can do better, and we have to forgive ourselves. And God is a forgiving God. See, but you have to set your priorities. Okay, you gotta take care of you. If we're running 247, we're running here, running there, running here, running there, and some people have all these projects, right?
Mm-hmm.
Listen, you gotta know when there's some things you gotta put to the side, and you have to kind of regroup, refocus, sit back, and think, because this is how you make better choices. This is how you give serious thought and insight to the choices that you're gonna make. If your mind is spinning and crazy and running to and fro, and you have all these projects, when do you have actual quiet time to really focus? So as I feel as we end 2020, what a better way to go into 2021 with thinking and reflecting on good and bad choices.
That's right.
And also developing those skills.
That's right.
Developing them by telling yourself, I forgive you.
Yes.
Telling yourself, God loves me. Telling yourself, God is merciful. God forgave me.
Mm-hmm.
And review all those things. And I believe that. And another thing that we talked about earlier in the program, months ago, journaling your feelings,
Yes.
journaling your thoughts, journaling your goals. Write these things down before you make these quick decisions.
Yes.
And then we talked about perception. We talked about think positive about yourself, right? Think positive about others, right? And all these things, I feel, SB, I really do. All these topics that we've been discussing for the past months, they all tie in.
Yes, they do.
All tie in such a powerful way. And this is just absolutely wonderful. Thank you. It's
Yes,
wonderful.
bless you, Rebecca. We just want you listeners to be encouraged, determined, and focused in bringing out the better and best part of you, because all of us have a beautiful, excellent, divine purpose. And no matter where you are, no matter what you do for a living, you have a divine purpose to be on this earth. And we just want to encourage you. We want you to stay inspired, stay lifted up daily. We want you to feel good about yourself. Nobody should walk around feeling bad about themselves or feeling negative about
No, that's
life.
right.
We should feel good about ourselves. When we wake up in the morning, we look in the mirror. You are a beautiful piece of artwork from God. So you make sure that you forgive yourself, you love yourself, you stay focused, and do the things that bring forth a quality filled life. Make sure when you make decisions, you ask yourself the question, is this going to bring quality or excellence? Or is this going to bring me a downgrade? Ask yourself that question. You don't want no
Yes.
downgrade. None of us can afford a downgrade. We went through
No.
a lot in 2020 now. Come on.
Yes. All right.
So
That's right.
it's time to upgrade. It's time to upgrade.
Time to
So
upgrade.
it's time to
Yes.
upgrade. So we're going to wrap it up. Rebecca, you have anything you want to share?
No, like you said, we've been through enough in 2020.
That's right.
It's no time to downgrade, but to upgrade.
That's right. It's time to upgrade. And so stay inspired. And I want to mention to you again, if you would like to give to a charity of your choice, please do so in this time of giving. My suggestion to you is to give to Feed America. Why? Because people have been affected financially by the pandemic, and people need food on their table, and Feeding America is the charity that I have chosen to focus on to make sure they get their donations that are necessary to feed people across America. So you can donate at feedamerica.org. I don't care how much money it is. If we give, we make the difference, because it is better to give than to receive. It is a spiritual principle. When you give, guess what? You just keep on receiving anyway. When you keep giving, that's a spiritual principle. And if you
Yes.
decide to give to another charity of your choice, that's fine. But make sure during this season you give in some type of way, because people need us to be blessings to one another. Doesn't matter how much you give or what you do, but what matters is that you give. So make sure you give. And I appreciate you listeners, and I thank you for listening to SB Favorite Thinking podcast. Our intent is to inspire you, uplift you, and just remind you that you are loved, and that you are important. So please share this podcast with as many people as you can. We want to keep growing. We want to keep um, staying focused on our goal, to just inspire people. And so you have a part in it too. So make sure you share this podcast. And I thank you for listening. And if you need to reach me, you can reach me at sbfavor@yahoo.com via email. You can also find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at sbfavor. I also have a YouTube channel at sbfavor. Please click like and leave me some feedback. Let me know what you're thinking. If you have a suggestion, feel free to make a comment about it, and I will consider what or anything that you want to share, or anything you think we should talk about or do. If you leave me something negative, I'm going to ignore you, because that is my rule. I don't respond to negativity. That is the rule for my life. I don't respond to negativity. So if you read me something negative, it's just gonna be deleted, and I'm gonna pray for you too. So um Thank you again for listening to SB Favorite Thinking Podcast. And Rebecca, I love you. I bless you. And
I love you too, honey.
we will talk to you soon. Make sure you have a good week. Stay safe. Wear your mask. Use your hand sanitizer. And you have a good day.